If you look at the breakdown of what India exports to the United States, our biggest competitors are China, Vietnam, and Bangladesh. By the simple reason that the tariffs imposed on China, Vietnam, Bangladesh, Indonesia, Malaysia are higher than the tariffs on India, it essentially means that India's competitive positioning is far superior when you start exporting mobile phones or T-shirts to the United States. To Walmart and Target, India is in a much better position, all things considered.
Right, but there's still a hit, though, isn't there? And that's why there's still negotiations taking place, and who knows, maybe defence, maybe nuclear and utilities could be negotiating and bargaining chips here. What about the BTA? What's that worth? If that does materialise, a US bilateral trade agreement, then how does that help the macro and the markets for India?
Okay, let me contextualize this by first of all stating that in the grand scheme of things, India is reasonably insulated from all the shenanigans of the global markets because India's single biggest driving engine is domestic consumption. 60% of India's GDP is domestic consumption. Only about 14% of India's GDP is merchandise exports. So give or take $400 billion, of which US exports account for $80 billion, of which since IT and pharma have been reasonably exempted, the number we are really talking about here is about 40 billion impact. And if you look at a 26% additional tariff, that on 40 billion is $10 billion. So for a $4 trillion economy, an additional 10 billion, it doesn't move the needle.
Yes.
But the noise that we see in the markets, of course, for the first few weeks, as people digest the impact of tariffs, and that's just the first order, second order ramifications, third order ramifications of how elastic is the demand in the United States. That will determine what India loses in pricing power, it might gain in volume because of the competitive advantage. So of the $10 billion of additional price, the biggest loser really is the American consumer. I expect 60% of that to be paid by American consumers.